Good morning. Welcome here in the sanctuary and welcome online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. Now we are on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole indigenous Americans. Happy Easter. Many Christians celebrate Easter today. It's also Earth Day. Happy Earth Day. Yesterday was Arbor Day, according to Danny. Hindus celebrated Rama Navami last week, and Jewish people are celebrating Passover. My name is Ben. My pronouns are he and they, and I'm excited for today's worship service. It's called Earth Day, Rebirth Day. See what we did? And it features the Green Team and their chair, Amy Jackson. Amy Jackson is up here with us and is joining us with these climate change trees. We'll talk more about them in a second. The choir is performing. Ellen Hayes is giving a view from the pew, and today's worship associate is Allison Longkey.
Hello, thank you, Ben. Happy Earth Day, everybody. Happy Easter. If you want a church where the unique energy of children brings joy to our services, where all who come in peace are welcome, where everyone is worthy of love, where we share our love of the planet and a responsibility for taking care of its survival and beautiful life, I have good news. You may have found your church home.
Thank you, Allison. We have 3 announcements today. The climate wish tree is the first one. During the offering, we're going to pass out climate wish tree tags. So please write your wish for planet Earth, for civilization, for life on our planet. And these are going to be collected in the collection plates along with our traditional donations. And afterwards, they'll be put on these trees.
Our second announcement is about the new member class. Ben will teach the first class next Sunday from noon to 2 right here in the sanctuary. The class covers the history of Unitarian Universalism, and all are welcome. Please see Chris McDonald if you are interested.
Then our final announcement is represented by this flyer, and there are more copies up here. Beyond the Binary, Building Beloved Community, we are co-sponsoring this, but it will take place next Saturday from 9:30 to 3:30. The Unitarian Universalists of Clearwater is where it will take place. A safe space dedicated to trans and non-binary individuals, along with local advocates and allies.
And please read the rest of your announcements in the order of service. In our weekly newsletter, we're on the TV in Gilmore during coffee hour.
Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we're people of diverse beliefs, but we do share a common faith that every being is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, and that we are connected to one another and to the earth. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here.
Allow us to give a special welcome to any newcomers. If you are new to UU St. Pete or even relatively new, can you give us a wave? Oh my gosh. Thank you for coming. If you would like, please, you're welcome to briefly introduce yourself. Reverend Ben will bring the microphone to you so that those on YouTube can hear. But you are under no obligation to actually talk if you do not want to today.
Anne's hand is up, but she's not here.
Hi, my name is Jessica Roth, and I'm here visiting my uncles, Ronnie and Russ. I live probably 45 minutes outside of St. Louis, Missouri. I have 2 kids that are here as well, but they did not make it to church today, unfortunately. They're with us in spirit, I'm sure, so I hope everybody has a good day.
Does anybody else want to introduce yourself?
Oh.
All right, if not, we do have a coffee hour after service. I encourage you to eat some food, have some coffee, and get to know us because we're a pretty friendly and interesting group. All right. So thank you all for sharing, and thank you for silencing your cell phones. Regarding masks, you're welcome to wear one if you're willing and able, uncomfortable, but now is the time for us to turn and greet our neighbors. I encourage you to say hello to someone who's new today, and please remember to get consent if you're going to hug or shake hands.
Now it's time to sing our children to their classes. We will sing Go Now in Peace as they leave for their classes. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Please rise as you're willing and able for our first hymn. It's in the Teal hymnal, number 1066, O Brother Sun.
And Liam's going to play through the whole first verse for us once instrumental so we can get the tune in our minds. O brother sun, you bring us light, all shining round in fiery might. O sister moon, you heal and bless, your beauty shines in tenderness. O brother wind, you sweep the hills, your mighty breath both freshens and fills. O sister, water you cleanse and flow through rivers and streams in ice and snow. O brother fire, you warm our night with all your dancing colored light. O sister earth, you feed all things, all birds, all creatures, all scales and wings. O sister death, you meet us here and take us to our God so near. O God of life, we give you praise for all your creatures, for all your ways.
Please remain standing for our chalice lighting. The flaming chalice is a reminder that we choose to focus here together for this time, and such time is sacred. When Tiffany Brunner lights our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek in love, and to help one another. You may be seated.
Good morning. Welcome to members and guests of UU St. Pete. I'm Ellen Hayes, a member of the Community Covenant Task Force, and my message this morning is primarily directed towards members and prospective members of UU St. Pete. By now, I'm hoping that each of you has heard a great deal about our new community covenant. You've probably noticed that our new covenant fleshes out the existing covenant, the one that we've mindlessly recited for at least a decade, with specific guidance that we hope will be helpful. Any organization of human beings, unlike ant or bee colonies or even herds of animals, contain diversity. Some religious organizations, such as a creed-based evangelical church, contain only a little diversity. Members are expected to believe the same thing and behave a certain way. But some religious organizations, such as this Unitarian Universalist Church, are different. We are covenant-based, which means that we, together, agree to form what we like to call our beloved community. No shared creed, just a shared longing for community. As a result, we welcome people with a very wide range of beliefs, viewpoints, life histories, personalities. It's inevitable that as we work together toward building this so-called beloved community, maintaining our precious building, furthering social justice in our city, it's inevitable that we will disagree. These disagreements could be in matters of process, substance, emphasis, values. It's mind-boggling. In her talk on April 6th, Susan Bernard reminded us that individuals with whom we disagree are not trying to drive us crazy. They merely approach issues differently than we do. And if we are curious and patient, perhaps we can learn something from them. Personally, I believe that one of the trickiest parts of the new covenant will be holding other members of our community accountable for their behavior. On April 13th, Cal reminded us that we all come with our own baggage. It will be our responsibility under this covenant to check our own behavior before we check the behavior of others. But if, after careful reflection, we feel that a fellow member of our beloved community has said or done something objectively harmful, it will be our responsibility under this covenant to speak with them about it, face to face. And that is really, really hard for almost everyone, including me. Somewhat comforting to me is that as a result of feedback from our retreat on March 22nd, we've added what I've called a fallibility clause. This recognizes that our community covenant is an ideal and that many, if not all, of us will at some point fail. To quote the end of our new covenant, I commit to try my very best to live its aspirations. Together, we will all work to build our beloved community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ellen. We come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. Those of you on YouTube Live, you're not here physically, but your presence is felt. So please type your joys, your sorrows, your concerns into the text chat. During the week, you can write me with your joys, your sorrows, concerns. Great. Sandy's got one more to hand up to Allison. And Deb Pierce, I believe, is going to, thank you, Deb, place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week.
If you have any additional cards that you filled out, go ahead and bring them up now or ask a neighbor to do so for you.
Now, each week we appreciate an individual or team who contribute to the church's mission. And this week we'd like to thank those of you who are doing the sexton duties while we're between sextons and in the search for our new sexton. So Deb, if you could put in 4 stones, they are for, I'm looking for Danny Bly. Probably they are still doing sexton things. I'm looking for Jimmy Gilmore, also not here. I'm looking for Mike Kennedy. Hey, Mike and his husband, John. Thanks you too, and thank you. Anyone else doing sexton stuff that I don't know about? Well, many thanks to all of you for your work.
We have a stone of concern for Liam for the lives lost and hurt at Florida State this past Thursday.
A stone of sorrow from Avrio Taylor. Avrio says, my father, Bill Taylor, age 102, died yesterday. He was a small-town doctor who delivered many of my friends, did house calls, and was known for staying up late with people in their homes as they recovered. He was a well-known pillar of the Falmouth, Maine community. Avrio, sorry for your loss.
We have a sorrow from Sandra Moss. A dear friend in Mississippi passed, leaving his 17-year-old son an orphan.
That's all I have, Allison.
I have 2 more. So I have a stone of joy from Sandy Weeks for Ellen Hayes, Ross Scott, Cal Fox, and Susan Bernor for the work they have been doing for the Community Covenant. I am so happy to see it coming into fruition. And another stone of joy from Susan Gore. The joy of purging my closets and condo as I prepare to leave for Panama on June 3rd. Also thankful for Milton and Michael, who will take care of Mr. Spatz by living in my condo while I'm away through mid-December.
Deb, let's place one more stone for those joys, sorrows, concerns that remain in our hearts. Maybe they're a little too tender to be spoken out loud. The mystery is that we are connected, isn't it? We're connected even when we feel apart. So let's be grateful for this community that makes of the many one. And let's take about a minute of silence together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you. It is now time, excuse me, it is now time for our responsive reading. You will find the words on an insert in your order of service.
Good morning, Earthlings. This reading is organized from discussion points in Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson's book, What If We Get It Right? Cynthia did this in her morning book group. These are possibilities worth thinking about. Please follow along with me. What if climate adaptation is beautiful? What if we live within nature instead of on top of it? What if we deconstruct instead of demolish? What if we value culture as a form of resilience? What if museums are hubs of research and development for society?
What
What if our tax dollars drive decarbonization? What if corporations consider Earth as a shareholder? What if companies lobby for climate policy? What if we stop using banks that finance fossil fuel? What if climate benefit is the test for every dollar spent?
What if the news is 50% climate instead of 1%? What if journalists focus on solutions? What if disposability is out and durability is in? What if new storytelling matches our new reality? What if we view climate action as a moral imperative?
What if voting rights are embraced as climate action? What if frontline communities help shape policy? What if we pay climate reparations? What if we prize interdependence over independence? What if our legal system deprioritized corporations? What if we step back from rising waters? What if we redefine home? What if climate mitigation and adaptation are just? What if extreme weather doesn't mean catastrophe? What if we turn to the ocean for climate solutions?
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone.
So, good morning, all. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Hi. So, my name is Liam, and I've been the new music coordinator here for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Of course, we're about to sing a very familiar song, Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. So I invite all of you who know it to sing along. And I'd also like to say that if you would like to join our choir or our bell choir, we're always looking for new singers or bell ringers. So you can always talk to me, or you can find my email on the website. We rehearse on Tuesday evenings, the first Tuesday of every month, at 6 p.m. for the singing choir and 7 p.m. for the vocal choir, but that's subject to change to accommodate more people. But without further ado.
That was pretty, thank you. I'm going to read for you an adaptation of a UU Climate Justice Revival sermon written by Arif Mamdani in August 2024. Love is at the center. Every justice necessitates climate justice, and climate justice necessitates every justice. These are new stories that we're telling. We are learning to tell ourselves a new story about our wholeness. We are learning to imagine ourselves into different relationship with the earth and how we live with them. We need these stories urgently because we need a complete transformation in how we live on this planet, how we understand ourselves in relationship to our earth and what we are called to be and to do as a result. In other words, we need to imagine our way into different stories and then we need to live them. This is exactly the move that theologian Sally McFay made when she argued that the earth is the body of God. McFay was writing in the 1980s. Many of us were alive then, some of us weren't. And if you weren't, I'm going to try and probably fail to describe just a little bit of what it was like. By the mid-1980s, Earth Day was a known quantity in much of liberal America. Tensions over the oil crisis had everyone thinking about ways to be more energy efficient and more energy independent. Environmentalists saw a glimmer of hope, and we also saw many gathering clouds of war and global destruction in the form of a nuclear weapons race. At 48 years old, Mamdani, I think he was one of the last to have regular war drills in school, and even that was elementary school. They were an artifact of the past by his middle school years, but the specter of nuclear annihilation was very real, very present, and the sense of living within a period of existential threat was palpable. Not to put too fine a point on it, McFay was riding into the teeth of apocalypse. She was doing theology in the cusp of existential annihilation. In other words, not too different from the theology that we're doing today, with the presence of the earth and its suffering in our hearts, in our minds. Her method, she called metaphysical theology, asked us to move into a place of imagination through her question, how would we think or act differently if this were true? She knew she was working against entrenched notions of God, just as we are today. And instead of arguing and trying to knock an idol off its base, she said, keep your idol, keep those ideas, just ask the question with me. How would you think or act differently if this were true? And then she said, what if the earth was the body of God? I get shivers when I ask that question. And if you're struggling with this, let me remind you of two things. First, that some theologians have defined a God in which it's greater than us, a God we are wholly reliant upon and that we cannot live without, which is to say that nature, our earth, does a very good job fitting that definition and criteria. Second, many have said that if I look at my checkbook, I will know what I believe in. If I look at my credit card statement, it will tell me what I believe in. If we look at our checkbooks, if we look at our credit card statements, what do they say we believe in? If we're going to have a God today, if we're going to put any logic up above us and follow its call, If we're going to open our hearts and surrender to anything, and particularly knowing that we believe in what we believe in shapes how we act, and how we act shapes what we believe, thinking and acting as if the world were the body of God would be an awfully good model to live with and within. Hang out in that space of imagination with me for a few moments. Can we imagine how different things would be if we behaved and acted as if we believed the earth that we walk on, the earth that gives us everything we have, is the body of our Creator? The funny thing, of course, is that we need not imagine it at all. It is literally true that we are wholly dependent upon the earth, that the forces of nature are far greater than we can ever be and beyond our understanding and imagination. We literally cannot live without it. Western intellect has made the fundamental category error of believing that we are separate from that which we are inseparably apart. The earth is God, and we are intimately a part of God's body. What would we do? What would we not do? How would we move through a world where everything is holy, where everything is sacred, where everything is a story of gratitude and interdependence? How would we live if we understood that we come here not to make this a site of our efforts, but rather a place to fill our spirits, a place for collective care, a place for healing, one that kindles and replenishes our imagination, one that helps us to recenter imagination of what we could be so that we can go out and live it, and in that process of living it, make the world as it could be.
Thank you, Amy. We eat fruit from trees planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that bear fruit long after we've gone. In the sanctuary, the offer will now be given and received. And don't forget to add your climate wish tags. Oh, did we tell you what the climate wish tags were? I'm not qualified to answer this.
You should have received in the dishes a green tag, and you may have something to write on. Put a climate wish for the earth, for us, for the future on a tag, and when we collect for the regular collection, put it back into the dish, and we'll put it on the trees. Thank you.
And thank you. And here at this church, we don't expect perfection. Thank you for bringing your whole self here today. Thank you. That which is given in love is received with great joy. Thank you.
It's Easter Sunday. Today, Christians celebrate an innocent man who is arrested, who is given a sham trial without due process, and then violently killed by the state. This man is part of a marginalized group that's persecuted by that same state. Good thing that's not happening anymore. Many of you said you were new, so I will let you know that Unitarian Universalists do not require a specific belief in a specific supreme being, or indeed in a supreme being at all. We welcome Christians. We welcome Muslims, Jews, atheists, agnostics, Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, and even pagans like me. We welcome those who are trying to figure out what you believe, and we offer a community with those who are also trying to figure that out. There are different ways of celebrating Easter. So some Christians celebrate Easter as the day when Jesus of Nazareth was resurrected. This event was first reported by women close to Jesus. These women were not believed by the men around them. Others celebrate Easter by following the teachings of Jesus rather than focusing on his specific death and resurrection. UU minister Lori Laban-Gorgas says, Jesus is in that El Salvadoran death camp. Jesus is losing SNAP benefits and Medicaid. Jesus lost a house in the hurricane, and the administration is going to dismantle FEMA. Now what are we going to do about it? She asks. Still others celebrate Easter and resurrection as an ongoing process. Virginia Fox sent me a newsletter that said resurrection isn't just about one man rising up from the grave, it's about all of us, our ability to rise, rebuild, and renew again and again. And in this newsletter, poet and herbalist David Gilks says that spiritual practices quiet the amygdala, strengthen the anterior cingulate, open up the default mode network for self-reflection, and they literally rewire our identity through consistent small acts of devotion. And isn't that the message of Easter? Gilks asks that death is not the end, that what looks like the darkest moment is often the doorway to something sacred, that resurrection is not a one-time miracle, but a daily invitation. Now, I believe that resurrection and rebirth happen even when things appear most hopeless. I believe that wherever there is death, there is also the promise for birth, for rebirth. Where there is despair, there is hope. Where there is fascism, there are those of us working for liberation and freedom. My friend Reverend Andy Oliver of Allendale United Methodist Church says that salvation isn't about escaping this world and going to heaven. Reverend Andy says it's a healing force pulsing through every protest, every jail cell, every broken community. It's God showing up in solidarity where shit's hardest. It's about getting saved from greed, from white supremacy, from bigotry, from whatever keeps us numb and divided. And he finishes off with this beautiful quote. Resurrection is real, Andy says. Every time someone refuses to give up, every time people rise from ashes and fight, every time love shows up where death and empire thought they won. Right? Reverend Andy, you got applause at our church. Every time someone refuses to give up, every time people rise from the ashes and fight, every time love shows up where death and empire thought they'd won. It's been a busy weekend for me. I started the weekend at Susan Bernor's house. Is Susan here this morning? So Susan, many of you were there, hosted this wonderful church gathering, one of our mingles. And many of you know her old apartment was destroyed by the hurricanes. But on Friday, Susan looked radiant as she welcomed us all. She smiled as she mixed her signature cocktail, rising from the ashes. Then yesterday morning, I drove to the Bread and Roses Women's Health Clinic, got out of my car. Sandra was there. Sandra, you're here, I think. Sandra was there. We escorted people to their appointments for abortions and other health care. We did our best, and there were others with us, we did our best to shield these folks from those who were yelling at them and calling them baby killers, calling them, saying they were going to hell. Sandra brought cold bottles of water to share with them. Love showed up where death and empire thought they won. Then after that, I drove here. I parked at the church parking lot, but then I took this banner and walked it over to Williams Park, 2 blocks that way, for the Day of Action. I saw many of you at the Day of Action. Who was at the Day of Action here or where you were? Thousands of us protested the administration's erosion of our democracy, and love showed up where death and empire thought they'd won. Then finally this morning, I drove my mom to church. I was a bit distracted, but she talked to me about the Gulfport bus driver who picks her up to go shopping each week. The driver, as it turns out, had focused on this tree in our condominium complex. It had been damaged by the hurricanes, and the driver said he hoped the tree would heal from the damage. And my mom started to notice that too, and she thinks the tree is steadily improving. Love showed up this week when Senator Chris Van Hollen flew to El Salvador. A lot of you saw this on the news. Refused to leave until he met with his constituent, Abrego Garcia. And honestly, I thought he was dead. Did anyone else think? Right. For 3 days, I thought we had lost him and that they were hiding it. But then, this beautiful image of him alive, the stone rolled back, as it were. There he was. Even in the most desperate times, I promise you this, we will see miracles. We will see miracles, big and small. We will see light that gets through the cracks. We will see hope like a candle piercing the darkness of despair. Resurrection is real every time someone refuses to give up, every time people rise from the ashes and fight, every time love shows up where death and empire thought they won. Ellen reminded us that we will disagree. And these disagreements could be in matters of process, substance, emphasis, values. It's mind-boggling, she says. Still, to me at least, the process of conflict resolution, of listening, of compromise, of holding love at the center, of seeing one another's inherent worth and dignity, even when we disagree, that's a process worth lifting up. That's a process worth celebrating, worth practicing. I am excited for our community covenant. Is anyone else excited for the new community? Yes. And there's a QR code that Cheyenne made. You can take a picture and it leads you to the thing. I hope you take the time to read it, understand it if you haven't already. Now, some of you may be thinking, is this really an Easter worship service? What does this have to do with religion? What does this have to do with spirituality? Well, for one thing, many of us see social justice as a spiritual practice. And for another, a cherished UU value is interdependence. Reggie Craig reminds us, we do not feed the homeless on Fridays. We share a meal with those of us who happen to be unhoused, not from the perspective of charity, of helping those less fortunate, from the perspective of mutual aid among equals, seeing one another's humanity in this way is a deeply spiritual act. Amy read you Arif Mamdani's words earlier, and he said this: Western intellect has made the fundamental category error of believing that we are separate from which we are inseparably apart. The earth is God, Mamdani says, and we are intimately part of God's body. So Earth Day and our care for the earth, they're not charitable acts. We're literally admitting and acting on the basis of our connection to the ground underneath us, admitting our responsibility to care for that ground. Acting on the basis of this is deeply spiritual. Every justice necessitates climate justice, and climate justice necessitates every justice. So yes, these are desperate times, but even so, I bring you good news. In the coming days, we will see acts of bullying, of cowardice, of silencing, but also acts of kindness, of bravery, of resistance. Now that abortion is basically outlawed, we will see, and we see, brave souls providing abortion care at home. Now that trans and non-binary people are told they must use their gender assigned them at birth on our licenses, still we find churches that believe all genders are sacred, all genders are precious. Now that Black history books are banned in schools, we find teachers willing to risk their jobs, insisting on teaching the accurate history of our nation. Now that undocumented immigrants face deportation, still we find churches who welcome these siblings but do not welcome ICE. Everywhere and every day that we see tyranny, fascism, autocracy, I promise we will also see miracles, both small and large. The stone has been rolled to the side. Resurrection is at hand. Hope is at hand. Miracles are at hand. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." Resurrection is real. Every time someone refuses to give up, every time people rise from the ashes and fight, every time love shows up where death and empire thought they had won. Happy Easter and happy Earth Day. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Please rise as you're willing and able for our closing hymn. It's number 1017 in the Teal hymnal.
And let's get that sermon into our shoulders, into our hips as this is going on. Liam. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
You may be seated.
This is by Langston Hughes. It's an earth song, and I've been waiting long for an earth song. It's a spring song, and I've been waiting long for a spring song. Strong as the shoots of a new plant, strong as the bursting of new buds, strong as the coming out of the first child from its mother's womb. It's an earth song, a body song, a spring song. I have been waiting long for this spring song.
Thank you, Amy. Please remain seated as Liam plays the postlude. I told you, miracles.
For a few closing words, this is by Maya Angelou. We need joy as we need air. We need love as we need water. We need each other as we need the earth we share. And don't forget, every day is Earth Day.
Today is Earth Day. Thank you, Amy. We invite you to follow along with the hand gestures. Light of truth is here. Warmth of love is here. Fire of courage is here. As Tiffany extinguishes our chalice, the words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These carry in our hearts out into the world. Our worship is over, but our service begins. Please join us for coffee hour here in Gilmore. If you see someone not talking to anyone, maybe go up and say hello. Trish, our president, who's right there raising her hand, will be in the library for time with the president. All are welcome to that. We hope this time together will help you get you through your week. Will help you remember you are not alone. Blessings.